Let's discuss this and more with Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey from Maryland. He's attending a field hearing in Minnesota tomorrow about the Trump administration's immigration crackdown there and its handling of protesters. Congressman, a lot of simmering tensions in Minnesota this morning. We showed the images from overnight, the tear gas, the sparks flying. The president just threatened to institute the Insurrection Act. Is there anything you've seen that's led you to believe there's an insurrection going on?
No, as a matter of fact, it's I think a dangerous and illegal escalation of the situation. You've got people out there exercising their First Amendment rights in a nonviolent way, as far as I can tell. And certainly they have the right to do that. This is just an attempt to sort of intimidate them and push back. Same thing when they surged up more ICE agents a few days ago. And the threats about Insurrection Act aren't new. They used those, I believe it was last summer when they were talking about putting National Guard into cities. So the irony is, you know, when we needed the National Guard to be called out, or the military, for January 6th, Trump didn't do it. But now he's, you know, at the drop of a hat, he's trying to push him out there. So it's unfortunate and it's wrong.
Last night marks now the second shooting in that state involving federal agents. We're seeing more and more aggressive encounters involving ICE and Border Patrol. In your former work as a state attorney, you handled those excessive use of force cases. What sticks out to you and what concerns you the most about what you're seeing?
Well, the feds are doing everything wrong here. I mean, what they should do is have a joint investigation with the state officials. Make sure they collect all the evidence together, share the evidence. If the feds decide they don't want to move forward with the prosecution, that's their right. But they should share that so the state authorities can make that decision for themselves if they want to take the information, present it to a grand jury, and then see if criminal charges come out of that. That's what I think should happen here. The feds have you already had President Trump say everything is fine. Todd Blanche, the deputy attorney general, said it the other day. Noem said it already as well. So it looks like the feds are committed to stonewalling this just to whitewash it. I think that's going to be an undermining of public confidence. And more importantly, in some ways, it really sends the wrong message to other agents out there on the street that using excessive force, having a hair trigger with respect to the willingness to pull the trigger, and that may be part of the reason you saw the shooting yesterday. That's the wrong message we want to send out. We want restraint. We want control. We give them a gun, a badge, and a license to kill. We want to make sure they exercise that and use it in the right way because it can be very dangerous, as we've seen already.
Yeah, when they talk about trying to take measures to increase security or safety on the streets, I do think it's worth remembering what we heard from Minneapolis Mayor Frey last week, which was the Renee Good shooting was the second shooting in that city this year. So they'd only had 2 shootings. 50% of them were by ICE. Let's talk about this field hearing that you're participating in tomorrow in Minnesota. What are you and your Democratic colleagues hoping to accomplish?
Well, I think we want to get there and get our feet on the ground and have a chance to hear from people that are there. Where it's law enforcement in particular, state and local authorities are going to be testifying. I want to commend Pramila Jayapal and Ilhan Omar for pulling this together. On behalf of, the House of Representatives. We've got senators coming as well. I think we're going to have almost 30 members of Congress out there for this. And we also had a letter that was sent that I think Representative Omar led. I think it's like 160 signatories on that, demanding that the federal government move forward with an investigation and make sure that they work with state and local authorities to share the information they gather. We want to make sure that this is done in the right way, that the evidence is collected. As I said before, I think the feds should move forward with an investigation, but if they refuse to do so, get the hell out of the way and let the state authorities do it. And I think that's what we're going to be hearing about tomorrow.
As of this morning, 70 of your colleagues in the House have now signed on to an effort to impeach President Trump's DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Are you on board with that effort?
Well, I haven't seen the articles yet, but I got to say, she is the worst I've ever seen from the standpoint of the secretary for that department. She clearly doesn't know what she's doing. And, we've called for her to be fired previously for a variety of other reasons. And in this particular instance, you remember she came out, I'm not even sure the smoke had cleared after the shooting, and she was already saying it was a good shoot and trying to accuse the victim of being I think the term she used was domestic terrorist. And we know
Yep.
that none of that's true now. So, I don't think she should be in the job. I think she makes the country less safe. I think she undermines the mission of that department. And I think she should go.
Congressman Glenn Ivey, thank you very much for being here.